Hello, good evening. It is.
And welcome.
The club call.
Yeah.
Welcome to one and all. It's the 21st of May. As I said on the daily today, the Premier exclusive daily live today, it's the day after the 30-year anniversary that Everton won the FA Cup. But more importantly, John, it's the day after Everton secured 13 spots in the Premier League.
I can't wait for the DVD to come out.
Incredible. £12.4 million extra than what we thought we were going to have.
Quite possibly what we budgeted for.
Well, we did, which was 17.
Which is all upside.
I mean, the first half of the season, we were budgeting for the championship with the other fella in charge. But hey, onwards and upwards.
A few more pennies that can be distancing us from any threats that people keep popping up with, whether they're Man City fans or not.
He can't be still going on.
Mate.
That fella, he must have found his train set somewhere now. The most development man in the world.
It is, it's good. It can only help, can't it?
Yeah, all good. It's all good, isn't it? You have done a Substack article which you can read free.
Yeah. It's good.
The link will be in the description. Go and check it out. But basically, you're just addressing the Friedkin Group's purchase of Everton and obviously the appointments of Angus Kinnear and what we hope to see moving forward now. And that's sort of the question we've put out.
Oh, okay, good one. Because what the editor said to me when he told me what I had to write was, simplistically, what they've done and what they need to do. So it's sort of... That's it,
isn't it? And it's just a bit of commentary, what you've put on, where they started and where we are now. And obviously we saw last Friday the name and rights deal.
We did, yeah.
So therefore, further example that hopefully Everton are getting the house in order.
Yeah.
And some extra income. Because this is something you have, certainly those of you who are Premier members, which you can get for just the price of a cup of coffee each month, will know on the business we're playing each week that we often, you've certainly the last couple of weeks, you've gone back over the financial performance of the football club commercially. And one of the sound bites you gave me last week was...
Never forgets anything.
No, but the thing, you know what? It really stuck with me, and it was something along the lines of, you give me the commercial revenue from 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And sort of what it is now, what it was last year.
Give or take.
It's about the same, give or take, at a time when it should be way higher because everything else has gone up. So that was quite startling to me. But looking ahead now, this name and rights one's the first thing, and hopefully now it's time to build on top of that, isn't it?
It is, and the thing that I liked about the naming rights thing, the way it was pitched, which was fundamentally one of the biggest deals in Europe.
Yeah. Which
then, of course, what do Evertonians do? What do? We rush out and we see what all the deals in Europe are, and many of these things are not publicised as a number. Maybe Everton will. I suspect Everton might down the track tell us what the absolute number is. If for no other reason, then we may be able to deduce it when the sponsors' annual accounts come out next year. So maybe between now and then. But that they called it that way. It wasn't a record-breaking deal for Everton, a 50p bigger than the last one, which was what previous regimes would have said. They referenced it against best in class.
Yeah.
I think that's where we need to measure ourselves. And if we measure ourselves as best in class and we're clearly nowhere near it, then we know where we need to improve. Rather than what both Baxendale and before Robert Elston would do is just say, record-breaking deal.
Yeah.
It always reminds me of pole vaulters who are so good that they can break world records whenever they feel like it.
Just by nudging up.
Yeah, and they go up by a centimetre and he gets another 10 grand bonus for breaking the world record. And then tomorrow he does it again, tomorrow he does it again, tomorrow he does it again. Because Everton used to just keep saying, didn't they, record-breaking deal, record. And you'd look at the number and go, yeah, but we don't get it.
It's gone up by 11 quid.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So that was endearing in my world. I thought that was good. I didn't have a head wobble at all about the name. Or
two things. Two things I want to address.
Always two things.
Actually, three.
Oh, three.
Okay.
Inflation.
Stephen Murphy, Beto hasn't gone anywhere unless Everton have already got the coach to Newcastle. So that's the first thing. So put that in the bin for now. Second thing I want to address, Ned's in the comments, and I love that. Fair play, Ned. lifting. He knows what I'm on about. He'd be driving. Yeah, that's where you got that.
In memory of Ned.
But the real thing I want to talk about is the naming rights, which some people seem to lose their mind over.
There was someone in the room.
Yeah, but a lot of people
a
lot of people seem to lose their mind over, which I'll be honest, just blew my mind. It sort of made me go, what?
Have I missed something?
Like, what are people losing their heads over? Because to me, you just mentioned it, commercially, it's a good deal.
Yeah, if what we're told is true.
If what we're told,
and there's no reason to suppose
exactly,
it's not.
right, so that's good.
£10 million, say, per annum plus. And I know people have tried to unpick that, but they're only guessing like the rest of us, that it's not all guaranteed, it's all kickers, this, that and the other. Yeah, I went with what I went in the article, with that number, because the source was most credible.
Exactly, so it's, good deal. Local firm.
Yeah, for a few hundred years,
Exactly. I mean, when I worked at Everton, they were Everton solicitors. I think they're still involved with it. Well, they are quite clearly still involved with Everton.
They advised Everton when I went head-to-head with them in 2013.
There you go. So there's lots of...
They don't win every time.
But they're there.
But no, they are a very good brand.
They bought Cuff Roberts, who obviously, that firm had been formed by Will Cuff, who, the man himself, formed Everton. Yeah. Stuff like that. So there's a nice synergy there. They're an international law firm as well. 11 things around the world. So it's all about local generation. So if you want to put that story together of who's the sort of least, can attract the least heat as a name, and I think you've got it. If you'd have gone with Qatari Airways, which was one, then Middle Eastern money and negative connotations. Amazon, they use sweat. They don't give the staff, whatever benefit, whatever you want. It attracts negativity. There's a lot of them. The other thing is, what if none of those people were remotely interested? The same way as no one's ever been remotely interested in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So much so that the mouthpiece.
He's rewritten history.
Has rewritten history.
I didn't want one anyway.
And gone, it was always our thing to do this. Of course it wasn't, mate. You were still trying to sell it to Google till they said how much, and then he came up with a stupid number and he went, see you, lad. So we can't, on one hand, how I read it, my view, and it's only my view, I'm sure lots of people disagree with me. My view was, I want a fast right winger. Ergo, get me some money. These are paying it, least offensive. I'm never going to call it whatever it was. If it was the Apple Watch Stadium, I'd have never called it. If it was the Test, I'd have never called it. I go to ground or I go to match. And let's be honest, whether people like it, whether they like it or not, most people will call it Brandy Moore. They just will. They will. So for me...
If they name it at all.
And actually think the signage on it, when you've seen the art, I think looks quite good.
CGI stuff look good. Yeah.
So for me, I was okay with it. I'm all right with it.
I mean... These things, and we know this for the fair market value thing that's in the rules, that a bit like legal stuff, precedent drives it. And when you can look at Bayern Munich with an iconic, 30-year relationship with Allianz and all that sort of stuff, and they're getting about the same, if not a little bit less.
9.2 million a year.
And if that's true, and that's euros, by the way, so you're saying, well, you are up there with almost the best,
because a lot of them are tied into shirt sponsorship.
And it's hard to unpick it. It's if you take and we talked about Arsenal often when we do BWB, didn't we? That theirs is tied in with the shirt, so it's hard to know what it is. But whoever the analysts are have tried to do it, and theirs is significantly smaller than this. Right,
5, isn't it, Arsenal?
Yeah, 5 points something. Right. So as a market, fair market value. And again, and I liked it when we were talking the other day. You said, well, Friedkins are proper business people, so they'd rather spend someone else's money before their own, which is not a problem. No. I think that's great.
I mean, I've only taken that from you, but there you go.
But what is the point of, say, the owner using one of his brands or her brands, whatever, to sponsor the stadium or even the training facilities for that matter, if the amount of money due to fair market value regulations and stuff like that is just going to be the same as if we get a true external firm to do it?
Yeah. May as well get them.
So get them to get it. And if you've got wriggle room somewhere else where you can play some games with the rules, that's where you bring your money to bear.
Well,
right?
what I was going to say is, and I did say this to you as well, 3 or 4, 5 years down the line, when this might be even more valuable, there's nothing stopping the Friedkin group going, oh, we've done a deal with Allianz and they're paying us £20 million a year. Now, thank you very much, Hill Dickinson.
Has been exercised.
Off you go, thank you, and it's now this.
I mean, because, and I don't know why, maybe there is a reason, but if this had been announced as, say, rather than a long-term good deal, as a deal worth not less than £100 million over the next 10 years, people's reaction would have been completely different, wouldn't they? Yeah.
Possibly.
I mean, people, if you try and unpick rumour and speculation and all that sort of stuff, in a different world, it might be called the USM Arena.
Yeah.
And it'd have a 20-year deal worth a few £100 million. We'd all say, that's the biggest, we're great, well done by our boys from Uzbekistan. And you go, whoa, 200 million divided by 20 is 10.
Well, that's what it was, the same.
This is 10, right? So it's a good deal, or it appears to be a good deal.
Is it?
And then if your head fell off just because you don't like words with Dick in, then, get hold of yourself.
It's a name.
Get hold of yourself.
It's a name. If it was Dick Sporting Goods Arena, which a lot of US grounds are called, then fair enough.
We're not Bolton, are we?
It's Hill Dickinson. It's a name.
We're not Bolton.
I know, but I don't get it, honestly.
Well, I know. Ped's shaking his head, look.
I find it mad, honestly. But there you go. Have we got anyone waiting?
We have. We've got 3 waiting.
Okay, let's go.
Well, you're supposed to interrupt us.
Go on, James.
Yeah.
So first is Fletch.
Oh, hasn't
Of
been
course
on for
it
years.
is. I thought you were waiting for Ped, Fletch, but fair play.
Hasn't been on for years, has he?
Has he not? I think he is.
All right.
Hello,
Hiya.
Fletch. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
Good.
I'm glad I'm first go. I think this is my first time having the first go of the Toffee TV Club Call Live.
Yeah, I want to get you behind us, mate. That's what it is. Yeah.
Everyone's got a tough act to follow, Fletch,
Yeah,
when you've been on. So
yeah.
go on,
Bring
mate.
in
the
the
bar.
custom. Bring in the custom. Right.
Go ahead,
so I
mate.
just wanted to say a quick congratulations on reaching 100,000 subscribers.
Thank you very much.
Ped and Baz. I've not had the opportunity to speak
Not to
to you
do with
about
me,
it
mate,
yet.
don't
I think
worry.
it's brilliant. It's
Thanks,
well deserved
mate.
to all concerned and for all of the hard work and effort gone into making the programme.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
And commiserations as well to Adelaide Decore on leaving the club. It's he's been an integral player for us over the last 5 years and a vital talent for the team on and off the pitch.
Yeah.
And I don't like the new stadium name, if you don't mind me saying so.
Fine.
It's a
That's
blip.
no problem.
It's a what?
blip. It's a little bit hillbilly, if you ask me.
To be fair, Fletch, all I'll say is it's the name of a firm.
Yeah.
So that's all it is.
very old
It's a
one.
firm that's a very
I
old
like that.
firm.
It's interesting when
That's
you
all.
said it's a local firm as well. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Sort of giving something back to the community, keeping it
Yeah.
local, etc.
Yeah,
But
well,
I
that's
do
what it
think
is. That's part of their remit as well. The North generation, the generation of North Liverpool as well. They're key to as well with wanting to be involved in it. So
They're offering us a lot of money.
exactly. But anyway, go on, mate.
I think it needs to be reshaped into something else. I like the Dixie Hill Stadium, but I don't
But
think
that
that
isn't
will be
their name, no.
universally recognised by the broadcasters.
That's not their name, no, Fletch, is it? So
Yeah, exactly.
that's like saying we're getting, I don't know, we're getting Amazon in, but we want to recall it the Zon State. It's just, you know what I mean? They're never going to do it. The name is Hill Dickinson. That's the firm's name. So it's not going to be changed from that until we get a new.
I'm going to call it Brownlee Mordaunt.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. That's what will happen. That's what will happen.
I'm going to call it the
And I
ground.
just wanted to point out also, 1.2 million people are sending on to Goodison Park on Sunday.
How many?
Okay, I'm not
1.2
convinced.
million people.
No.
Ped might know. Hang on, Ped. Fletch is saying 1.2 million. We're at Goodison on Sunday. Do you think that's an
It's a new
accurate number?
record.
I would say.
A new record?
I would say 80 to 90,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's more like 100,000, Fletch.
Has Jed been
Well,
doing
that's
this
what I've
stuff?
read anyway. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's true or not, but if that
Yeah.
is true, it's an unbelievable achievement to Everton. The club
It's
and
an
the
unbelievable
community.
achievement to have 100,000 there, Fletch, for
Well, apparently, we set the record was set last season. Well, so the last time Liverpool won the Premier League, it was 1.1 million people ascending on Liverpool, and the record before that was Newcastle. The Newcastle as well when they won the League Cup. That was 700,000. But apparently, I've been reading that it's 1.2 million people ascending on to Goodison. All in all, and if that's true, like it's an unbelievable achievement for the legacy, the end of an era legacy at Goodison Park. It was a genuinely emotional day for all of us. And like Goodison Park is a cathedral of English football.
Yeah, definitely. And
I just wanted to point out as well, if I can, while I'm here, that there's a couple of documentaries on the BBC that have been released that I'd like to recommend. The first being the one on BBC Sounds, starring Mark Chapman and Tony Bellew. The second being an on-screen final send-off presented by Roger Johnson from North West Night and BBC Breakfast. They're both called Goodbye to Goodison, a touching emotional tribute to Everton and the grand old lady, and they're well worth a watch. I was really emotional watching it.
Brilliant. Well, there you go. You've just done it. You've just highlighted the links.
All the Evertonians, all Blue Noses, that if you give them a watch, especially the one with Roger Johnson in, it's a fascinating tribute because it goes into the history. If you've not been to have a look around, like the lady who did all that for many years, she's on it as well, and it's a good watch. It's a really good watch. It's a touching tribute from the BBC.
Excellent. That's good.
And I'm moving forward then into Bramley Moordock. I think the Friedkin group don't need to do too much in terms of matching Everton's ambition. I think they just need to keep the money where the mouth is, keep the heads down low in terms of how they manage the club in terms of the style, right? But try and, just when it comes to these sort of decisions, when it comes to the naming rights, the grounds, just try and think bigger. It's not all about money. Money is a vital part of it, of the process, don't get me wrong. But it's about manufacturing and a club that thinks globally and can achieve global ambition as well.
Okay. Well, what would you have liked, Fletch?
I would have liked Toyota as the naming rights. I think that would have been a great start.
But what if Toyota weren't interested? And they weren't,
well, obviously they weren't. Obviously, in the end, it went to the Hill Dickinson Stadium. But and we've got to think, right? Okay, well, if they're offering us the most money, then fine, fair enough. But sometimes it's not all about money. It's like this new kit coming out next year, right? And it's still being with. Are we still with Hummel?
No, Castori.
Castori. Beg your pardon. Yeah, we're not with Hummel.
We're still with Castori next season. Yeah.
Yeah, if we can, try and get a bit of Nike on the go. I know we've had this conversation before.
No good for us though, Fletch.
The kit quality is not so good.
Fletch, it's no good for us because until Everton win stuff, Nike would not be interested. They give you the same level that they would give me if I went and bought.
I know, but it's about representing the club, isn't it?
It's what, mate?
It's about us being at the highest level we possibly can.
But that isn't the highest level, though, because I could get the same. I'm being serious.
Yeah.
We're getting new kits. I haven't mentioned this to John yet. We're getting new kits for our kids' team.
I know what he's on.
Right, but
he's looking for a sponsor, boys and girls. Yeah.
But the reality is, I could go to Nike and get the same kit that they would make for Everton, and just put a different badge on it, because to get in, you're just generic. Nike, we all like Nike stuff, but Nike they're not real. For football clubs, it's not real, mate. When we had them last time, Everton had to put their own badges on the kits because they weren't interested. Everton didn't make
a template show.
Everton didn't make anything from it. They didn't get anything from it. So I know what you're saying it from sort of like an ego point of view.
Isn't it? It's symbolic. Like Newcastle have got Adidas, Arsenal have got Adidas. I think Liverpool next season will go back to Adidas as well.
Yeah, they are.
If we could be the main custodians of Nike,
but we'd have to win something. There's bands you go in.
Imagine if we won something. Going back to the previous point about the amount of people that turned up to Goodison Park. Imagine if we actually won something.
I like you thinking. And we all want to be there. I'd love Everton to have an Adidas kit, but it's never going to happen. But I would like that. But
I'm not a fan of Adidas. I've never
Well,
been a
that's
fan of
okay.
Adidas just because
We're all
of their
different.
close affiliations with Liverpool.
we're all different, aren't we? But I'm talking about gear-wise,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But for us to get these Nikes of the world, or things like that, we've got to start winning stuff. We're not going to get there from just going and taking the sort of the lowest thing that they can give us.
Yeah, the
Do you know
mid-range.
what I mean? It's not
stuff
going to
we want
happen.
the highest. If it was a choice between having a mid-range gear but from a higher brand, or having a higher brand from the mid-range gear, it would be having the higher brand from the mid-range gear because they care more about us. They would put the effort in.
Well, Hummel loved us and put the effort in, and people were unsure. Umbro.
I've got a question for Fletch.
Go on.
Fletch, which
Yeah.
Premier League clubs have Nike?
Ooh, I think Spurs.
Yeah.
Who else? United don't have Nike, do they? Not anymore.
Nope.
No.
Who else? I'm just trying to think. No, that's what I'm saying. There's a gap there for Everton to fill.
The clubs who have Nike are Brighton,
Brighton. Jeez.
Chelsea, Liverpool,
Chelsea, of course, yeah.
and Tottenham. That's
Liverpool
it.
have
Yeah.
gone to with
That's it.
now, yeah.
And I've listened to you. They're moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
I listened to you two guys chatting, and Flesh, you brought to the party some snob value about having Nike's better than having Castori. I think you were right when you nailed it about we have to win things and so on. But only
Yeah.
because when we win things, our price will go up, and perhaps,
Exactly.
just
Our
perhaps, it'll go out of being within the price range Castori can afford, and therefore you,
Yeah, but what
you
I-
get others.
Pedal to give you. Ped's the kit dude and
I know he is,
understands that, but he will explain to you that the club, the companies like Nike and Adidas, everything's banded. So Everton might be like, oh, you know what? We're gonna take Liverpool's place in Nike. Nike are like, no, you're not. You don't win anything. You can have this kit
Yeah.
that's $1.99 a
I get
shirt.
it. I'm
But that's
talking-
the point of this
I'm
club
talking
call,
about when
though,
the
isn't it?
team.
It's about making Everton ambitious in terms of
But
how
Everton-
we actually.
It's
go
not being
about
ambitious
trying to
though,
win
taking
something.
a. Not being ambitious though, taking a replica shit like just a generic
No,
Forget
shit.
it's not.
the shirt for a
That's
minute.
what I was saying then
Yeah,
about it being mid-range,
Yeah.
mid-range merch, but they care more about us.
Well, just
Go on,
forget
yeah,
about the
yeah.
ambitious bit. Fletch, he might not have actually said it. I don't know if he did, mate, but you got very, very close to saying, well, if we're getting 10 million a year from Castori, I'd take 9 if it was Nike.
Yeah, I would.
Well, that's complete and utter crap then, mate, isn't it? Right?
I think that's complete utter crap.
It's
I don't know. I
about
think it's
money.
about striking the right balance.
Hang on, you were the one telling us the other week to monetise grief, Fletch, to squeeze
Yeah,
every
that's
penny
true.
out. Come
That's
on, man.
true. I also said that when
Who's
the
the best
business
form?
trade.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
That
Let-
is
hang on,
absolutely
Fletch,
true. It's about striking
Fletch,
the right
man, here,
balance.
Fletch.
Just pause because
Right.
we're bringing the kit
No, we're not. Go on.
I'll
Just
do
pause for
commercial,
1
he can
sec.
do quality.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to do commercial. Am I on? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
on.
I slightly
Yeah.
argue with you there, John, the 10 million, 9 million bit, because the reason I just slightly disagree with that is because the likes of Arsenal
Yeah,
and
you
Nike
started.
in their broader remit can promote us a hell of a lot better and have a hell of a lot bigger reach than a Castori does. But I
Yeah,
do take the
from a
point, 10
global
million is better than
standpoint.
9 million. But from a promotion
revenue
point of
they
view, I
can
do
make.
think, and putting them in their flagship
outreach.
stores, if you are part of that, is a bigger reach.
Well, yeah,
if you can be, if you are
Yeah.
part of that,
Yes, if there's a family of
It's
brands.
not all about the highest money possible.
Well,
it's not all about the most money. It's about striking the right balance in terms of what the club needs, in terms of their ambition.
Well,
And
and how
forget
to
Nike
achieve that.
anyway. Forget about Nike because they're done. They're never.
We're just
never.
talking generically,
yeah.
then, whether it's Nike or not, and you're going to have to qualify, Fletch, what ambition means. I don't think ambition is measured by have you got the poshest shirt on, right?
The brand being as big as possible.
Well, the brand's going to get bigger by winning things. That's
Yeah.
the thing that will drive growth in our football club is success on the field. Success on the field is tied directly to how much money you've got. So the idea that you can take less money to get a more prestigious brand or perceived prestigious brand, which will overall, which is Ped's argument, will give you an audience which is greater
It'll
because you
open the
see.
doors, won't it?
Well, I don't think it does. We've been with Nike before and it was crap, right? But
I liked it. I liked our time with Nike. I thought it was good.
I mean,
And I thought the kits were good as well. The way they presented the heritage as well, the way they presented the old style kits, I thought they were quite good. I had a polo shirt with the old Everton badge on from
see,
the
I'm
80s.
not. Yeah,
And Nike on the left, and it was nice.
yeah. I'm not really particularly pro Castori. I think that wings thing is way too big and.
No, for the Castori stuff.
Sorry, Castori, right?
Yeah.
And that sort of stuff. So, Ped shout from the background, Fletcher might not hear it, because Castori now own Umbro.
Yeah.
I think it would be great if we actually had Umbro on our shirt rather than Castori. It's the same family, isn't it? Yeah. But we've just been talking
I'm
about
not
the
a fan
stadium.
of Umbro, although we have been with them for a long time on and off.
In the past, yeah.
I'm not a fan of Umbro.
Okay, well, I don't know why, but whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
we just talked about the company who's name and rights partner for the stadium, right? They are ambitious to grow globally. Clearly, they're founded in 1812 when you go back far enough, and so on. So our hope would be that we've got a mutual relationship with them whereby we have a global platform for them to exploit because we're Premier League, and that's where all the marketing gets done. When you're seen on telly as part of the Premier League product, blah 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 blah. In Castori, we've got the same sort of ambitions. From a sportswear manufacturer and those sort of things. They do English cricket, they do Rangers in Scotland. The most successful Formula One team in recent history.
Rugby Union.
Yeah, and Rugby Union. Most successful Formula One team in recent history, Red Bull. 4 consecutive years of the same guy winning the title, blah, blah, blah. Who are their kit manufacturers? Castori. Who are the one giving them the biggest challenge right now? McLaren. Who are their kit manufacturers? Castori, right?
Castori.
So if we were talking in sporting terms, Baz doesn't want to have the pacey right winger who's going to score 15 league goals a season. After Brighton found him 2 years ago and we paid 75 million quid for him. He wants to find him when he's 15 million quid. You can sell a message here that says we've got an emerging kit manufacturing brand that we may grow with, or they may grow with us. Doesn't really matter. We've got a stadium naming rights partner doing the same thing, right? Maybe we're finding that prestigious brand flesh that you want before it's prestigious, right? And you're thinking of having Burberry or somebody who've been around forever, and the new kid on the block isn't now seen as sufficiently mainstream to satisfy that perceived ambition of being in the Nike club or being in the Adidas club. Well, maybe, just maybe, the club to be in 2 or 3 years' time could be the Castori club. Who knows?
I just think.
But we get out of
however,
them. We get out of those deals when we have a better negotiating hand, which will come from winning football matches,
winning matches and winning trophies.
So we need more money now, and the thought that
in order to achieve that.
Mate, it's totally alien to me, unless someone could put it down in black and white and prove it, that we would take less money from a kit manufacturer or a front of shirt sponsor or a stadium naming rights partner because a allegedly more prestigious brand would pay us less, but we get a rising tide situation, because that's a dangerous game to play.
Versus highest brand, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's highest offer versus highest brand, isn't it? I mean, don't get me wrong, Nike is the biggest, but from an Everton Club point of view, it's about what a brand can do for us in terms of what they can offer us, as well as what they can cater for us as well in terms of the merchandising, in terms of the style, in terms of basically the amount of effort they put into understanding our unique traditions as a club.
Yeah, but the likes of Nike aren't going to do that for us, so that's why we go with others. That's why Hull will be
and
good.
Just to answer your question also about the ambitions for the club, I think we need to just allow David Moyes to get on with his job this summer.
Yeah,
I think we need to match his efforts and ambitions with our wallet in terms of our spending capacity. And from an Everton overall board point of view, I just think we need to improve our outlook in terms of, like I've said previously, the merchandising, and just get the balance right in terms of outward reaching, forward thinking.
Yeah.
Because it
Agreed.
is about
Yeah.
time Everton won something. If
Yeah.
Newcastle can win something, if Crystal Palace can win something, if
Spot
Tottenham
on.
Hotspur can potentially win something,
Aye, aye.
there's it's a lot.
Turmoil
it is
tonight, I think we
50-50.
want to win, isn't
It's
it?
just it's a one game. There's
No,
one
you're
game in
right.
it. You never know what
Fletch.
United team turn up.
Fletch,
but Spurs
you're
could
spot
potentially
on.
win.
Yeah, spot on.
You're spot on.
Totally, mate.
That's what
There's room for Everton in this
there is.
picture.
There is, mate. Good place to finish, Fletch.
Good one,
well
Fletch,
done.
mate.
Cheers.
Well
Cracking
done.
start
Thanks,
to the
fellas.
night.
I appreciate
This
it.
night. No
All the
worries,
best.
mate. Have a good one. See you later, Fletch.
See you soon.
Ta-ra, mate.
So to build on Fletch while we're waiting for the next pair to be queued up, the only one of the top 3 in the world in sports brands that we haven't had is Adidas. Because we've had Puma and we've had Nike.
So,
Can I have my say on the naming rights then, please?
Go for it, mate.
Okay.
you can in it. Go.
Well, let me just so let me just
Yeah, go on.
So Friday night, I thought the timing was very, very strange, right? Very, very strange for the naming rights to be when everything was about the leaving Goodison Park.
Yeah.
I thought that was very, very strange to jump on the publicity of Goodison Park and leaving it and creating sourness when everything was positive. I thought that was a strange move, personally. I thought in a week which will be barren of Everton news, pretty much, I thought this week would be a cleaner week, PR-wise, to put that out there. I just found that very, very strange. The name itself, by the way, couldn't care less if they're a local brand, by the way. That's just my bit. I couldn't care less.
Me neither.
I don't buy into all of this. We've been with them for 100 years. I couldn't care less.
That's just
money's money.
what marketeers come up with.
No, that's fine. The name itself. What disappoints me slightly is it's not a name that will ever be used. It will never be part. And yeah, I totally understand the other side of it. We call it the ground. We'll call it Bramley Moor. It's slightly disappointing that the name itself will not become part of the Evertonia. It'll never become part of the lexicon. It'll never become of what we discuss off the tip of our tongue. It's not an Etihad. It's not an Emirates. It doesn't just flow. It's a mouthful. And I thought there's nothing anyone can do about that. If they offered the most money, they offered the most money. It's just one of those. It's just slightly disappointing that it doesn't become part of of who we are and our culture. And that could be anybody, by the way. And not only
We want a naming rights partner to become part of our culture.
No, I think you've got to. These are going to be lined up for the Emirates. It's been the Emirates for 20 years. It's part of the fabric of their club, and it just flows off the tongue, as does the Etihad. My issue is that name, and it's not anyone's fault, and it's not a reason to turn it down, by the way. It's just a little bit disappointing that it doesn't become part of who you are, if that makes sense.
That's where we
Qatari, though.
No, but you call it the Emirates, don't you? But don't you think the Emirates...
never had another name.
No, but it just flows, doesn't it?
It was never something else, was it?
No, but this was never something else. That's what I'm just saying.
This has been Bramley Moor for 5 years.
That's where mine is, Pet. If this would never have been known as Bramley Moor, then I think...
Because even the Everton Stadium didn't get great traction.
No, but it's the Everton Stadium because they didn't want to call it Bramley Moor. We get that.
I mean, yeah.
No.
Called the Qatari.
No,
I wouldn't have ever called it that.
No, I'm not arguing that point. I'm not. It's not even a part. I'm not even arguing.
I understand what
I'm not even arguing a point. What I'm saying is, it's just a little bit disappointing.
Underwhelming.
No, it's not. It's not even underwhelming.
Okay.
It's more just. It doesn't. It's not something that will ever become part of the. It will never become an Everton thing. It's not. Yeah. And I don't. By the way, I don't know what would have become an Everton thing. It just feels like
just being disappointed for disappointed.
No, I'm not, John. I never get disappointed for disappointing's sake. I haven't got enough of it.
But if you're going to have a debate, right, which
no,
says...
this isn't a debate.
Well, it is. We're talking,
no,
right?
This isn't a debate. This is just me saying my feelings.
Yeah, I'm trying to explore them.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I actually look at the stadium and I think it looks fine. I think it looks like an NFL stadium. It's very. I can understand why American Evertonians don't have a problem with it, because when I seen the stadium, I thought that looks like an NFL stadium.
Yeah.
And Americans are used to that. They're used to the AT&T. They're used to whatever it is, the Barclays Centre.
They're going to the MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, they don't have a problem. Ours, we are still very much part of the tradition of football, and that's the only thing that disappoints me. Doesn't make me angry. It isn't going to change the way I see the world. It's just, wouldn't it have been nice if it like, I know people, I don't know, didn't know what Fletch called it there, but people call it the HD Stadium and all that. Well, you can't. I get that.
Fletch wants to call it the Dixie Hill Stadium.
No, that's about a million times worse.
Everton fans will call it what they want.
No, I know they will.
Yeah.
But I just thought it would have been nicer if it was something that actually was part of our culture. So
give us an example then.
Well, look, the Emirates. I think when you say the Emirates, it just becomes. Who knows?
So when it had come out last Friday.
Yeah. No, but it shouldn't have come out last Friday, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. The timing was interesting, shall we say? Yeah, absolutely, right. And I hope that's for financial reasons associated with the end of the financial year of the sponsor and their desire to get the full benefit of all the advertising that flows from the fact that it's the last game. Blah, 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 right? Yeah.
You know, and maybe that's just a little iceberg tip of the commercialisation of the football club, which we all want, but we don't want it to go so far, but we do want with lots of football matches, right? But if they'd announced it was Qatar Airlines, would you be less disappointed or the same?
Qatar Airlines is also a mouthful.
That's what I mean.
So
you want something that will be easy.
I want something.
So would Lexus have worked for you?
Yeah, because I think that's quite a
the Lexus Arena.
By the way, this isn't an argument, or this is me going.
It's a debate, mate.
No, it's not even a debate.
No, it's
not even a debate, John. I'm not arguing that there's a better one. I'm just going. Oh, isn't that just a little bit disappointing that will only be, for most people, a name that is said by TV and media rather than being part of our own culture.
Yeah, okay.
That's all it is. It's not.
It's a disappointment.
It's just.
But last Friday, that's not what you were saying.
No, I was.
No, but
I was just a little bit more angry last Friday.
Yeah.
It just at the time. I thought the timing was really, really strange.
It was strange
because it created a debate online 48 hours before we were sending off one stadium to create negativity.
Well, it created something that everyone could have an opinion on, and therefore they weren't all going to be universally positive.
I thought that was really, really strange. And
so it must be financial reasons. It's got to be.
Yeah, no. Again, not arguing. I'm just saying. Just saying. I thought that was strange, and I thought it was just a weird time when this week is basically barren of Everton.
Yeah.
Apart from releasing players, we've talked about this loads of times.
Totally agree, mate.
If you've got like Liverpool did the other week, they knew they had Salah and Van Dijk. They didn't announce them at the same time. They'd sign a contract. They both give them their own little moments in the sun. And I just thought that was like, the reason it didn't go under was because people were debating whether it was good or not. And I was just like, why don't you just wait till next week when we'll all have loads of time to go, well, we've said goodbye to Goodison now, and now we're on to the next thing. By the way, in the larger picture, we all just have to go, this is the future.
Yeah,
this is Everton's future.
About that iceberg,
yeah, this is Everton's future. Everything now becomes about money.
Generating cash and money to get better players to win more football matches.
And maybe that's what Fletch was saying about getting like Nike, but he was sort of saying it's more about the prestige. Whereas, personally for me, we all want those nice things, but we have just moved from old-fashioned football to new football, and that's it.
So as our shirt man, which is as sort of right, if you were the man who's deciding, right, we're going to go with that brand for whatever reason, you don't need to tell us the reasons, just tell us the brand. Which brand would it be?
Umbro.
There you go.
Tradition.
And that's within the family.
But a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah, but we're asking our man what he
thinks.
It's
tradition, and also it's uncomplicated because it's already part of Castori's portfolio.
That's what I mean, yeah.
So, and also you can go, and Everton fans are moving on to the new, but you can also have a lot of old with that because you can go back to a lot of the old stuff. You can bring out a lot of retro stuff that we've seen at the weekend. And you can basically say to Everton, you can have your cake and eat it because you can have new kits and old stuff as well. Go on, get a call on them.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, I want to say first of all, thank you to Hack On. He's gifted 10 memberships to people, and Lockie One has become a YouTube member. So thank you.
Well done.
So Lockie as well. James, who've we got?
We've got Rich.
Rich. Okay, good evening, Rich. What do you want to say, mate?
Hi, fellas. Yeah, I wanted to talk about the squad and where the squad's going. Really,
It's very low, yeah.
I was quite. I don't know whether you were surprised about Decore yesterday.
Oh, we've lost him.
I was a little bit surprised.
Was it?
Surprised about who, Rich? Sorry, you just dropped out for a sec there, mate.
Sorry about Decore.
Oh, okay.
About Decore leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little bit surprised because I thought of all the players that I think we probably will let go, I thought, and we've said it, or you've said it on the show quite a lot, that he's obviously been a starter, he's been a regular in the team, he can do a job. I think he'll be able to do a job in the Premier League for another year or two easily. So I was quite surprised in the end that it didn't work out for him to stay. I can understand why, because I presume Everton made him an offer and he didn't accept it, and Everton weren't going to increase the offer. And I guess, a bit like you were saying there about the stadium, we're in a world now where Everton is going to do what is best for Everton and make sure that we don't repeat the mistakes of the past, etc., etc. But I don't know what you think about letting him go, because it kind of feels like it puts pressure on the recruitment now in a way that maybe, we're going to have pressure in other areas. We've said for a long time we need power and pace. We need somebody that's good, probably people that are good, players that are good down both sides, down both flanks. We're going to need at least one centre forward, etc. And it kind of feels like we've got a bit of pressure on recruitment now in an area where we didn't have pressure before. So I don't know what you think about that.
I think with Decore,
Wasn't it more age than money?
well, it's up. Listen, we've got a manager in charge who, once you're 30, you get 1 year. He's never changed, David Moyes. Never, ever changed. It's up to you to prove yourself to get the next year and the next year and the next year. We saw that all those years ago when we finished fourth and Alan Stubbs wanted 2 years and David Moyes only wanted to give him 1, and therefore he left. And he is famously said on more than one occasion he made the stupid decision in here as well. He should have stayed. So it was on Abdallah, and if Abdallah, and he did, he obviously exclusively told us last week that he felt like he needed more than, maybe longer than Everton were prepared to give him. So I think the fact that Everton have stuck to the guns for me, John, suggests there's a plan. And David was like, well, we'll offer him this. He doesn't want to stay. We know what we're doing.
I think we've talked about this on the channel many times, and sometimes it gets distilled with my bullshit soundbite of plan the dive the plan. If you have a manager and the club as well, and Wenger did it at Arsenal, others have done it in other clubs. When you get to a certain age, no matter how often you're getting picked, no matter what your performances look like, we don't want to put you on a contract more than a certain length. And the player insists, I want that contract beyond that length. Then you have a parting of the way, don't you? And I suspect
Look at Kevin De Bruyne at Man City.
Absolutely, and that's what they've done.
We're all scratching our heads, aren't we?
He'll drop into if he chooses, or
any other team,
a Premier League team, and they'll be delighted to have him.
Still look the best player. Yeah,
he'll get the contract that City wouldn't give him, so to speak. But that's life, and I think the emotionally romanticised decision making that's gone on in the past, say under Kenwright, followed by the laissez-faire, it'll all be all right, we've got loads of money under the Mashiri approach, has beaten us to death for the last 5+ years. Right? And we should readily remember, and you've nailed it, mate, don't repeat the errors of the past. And if that means there's an occasional exception that proves the rule, in the sense of you've stuck to your guns on your rules and you've lost a player that perhaps if you bent the rules you wouldn't want to. But it also sends a message out to everybody else as well, that we have drawn our line in the sand, Dominic, And if you're on the wrong side of that line, you'll follow him out. You know, it's as simple as that. And we can read between the lines now that whether it's Michael Keane or whether it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin or whether it's Gana Gay, all of those people are still talking to the football club, right?
Yeah.
Or the deal has been done for them to stay. And it's a bit like Ped just said, we'll time when we announce it, yeah? And knowing some of the leakiness around some of the actors in that, then it would be out, wouldn't it? And some of the, you know, the social media crap that's going on for Dominic and his family, and we're right behind Dominic and his family, by the way, we would know by now, wouldn't we? So I think, yeah, you've got a strong manager who says, no, I've been there before. I know what happens if you give aged players contracts that are too long. Doucouré could start next season just like he's been playing for the last season, and then suddenly a light will go on and he won't be there no more. And you don't need to take that risk. You really don't need to take it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining. You know,
no, I didn't think you did. I think we're
no,
on the same
just,
page.
I was just a little bit surprised because, you know, just where we are in terms of the amount of rebuild we've got to do with the squad. I thought that perhaps the club would kind of prioritise stability, if you like, with in the middle there, where we've got two players with Garner and Doucouré that we know do a good job. What's asked of them. You know, and then we can focus on some of the other areas on the pitch where we know we've got to strengthen. And you know, but I do have confidence, I think, in Moyes and presumably in the team that's coming in around him. You know, the chief exec and everything else, that they have got a plan, and they know now which players they're going to be going after, and you know, they'll be starting that ball rolling. So, you know, but yeah, it was interesting. I suppose it was interesting, like you said, John, that they've drawn the line in the sand. They've sent the message to other players in the squad that there is a line in the sand, and you know, they're not going to be pushed around.
No, and I think that's the best bit, that last bit, that, and we've talked about it, and we've asked about, you know, it needs to be on our terms, whatever that means. And our terms in this example would have two levers, wouldn't they? How much are we prepared to pay and for how long? And I suspect it's the how long bit that's been the breaker here, but who knows? But we also talk, when we're talking in business terms, when you've come to terms with the worst thing that can happen, everything after that is better.
Yeah.
And I would be really impressed if we've considered that the worst thing that can happen is all those players out of contract go. Right? Because that's a great negotiating position to be in. If you want to go, fine, because we've come to terms with that. But we have to have that plan where, you know, identification and trading and all those sort of things that Angus talked about, and they're in the Substack article, are all lined up as well, which we will just capture as we have a plan. And when we find out who we think, when the season starts next season, are going to be our two DMs, I rather hope one of them is a guy called Gana Gay, right? And the other one, who knows who it's going to be? Yeah. Who knows?
Some boss new midfield player.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think you're right. I would like to think that they're prioritised. And guess what? Doucouré wasn't.
That's the first demonstration.
He wasn't near the top of the list. But
the first demonstration.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll do things on our term, and it's what we've all been crying out for.
It's what we want. And if we have personal favourites or personal concerns, then we might get out of kilter with the club. But at least they've planned their dive, and they're diving their plan, which is much better than it's been in the past.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, when we're qualifying for Europe next season and winning the League Cup, that's my kind of big dream, is for Everton to win the sodding League Cup.
Oh, imagine it.
Yeah.
I want the Europa Conference League, mate. The trophy looks like a Bosch waste paper bin. I'm all day with that. And that'd look Bosch, us lifting that up in Hungary or somewhere where you play the final. So.
Yeah,
that'll be great. Be great.
Yeah. Good, just very quickly on the stadium name. I have to say, when I first heard it, I mean, the timing. The timing didn't bother me at all, if I'm being honest. And but when I first heard it, I was a bit kind of underwhelmed. But as time's gone on, I've thought, actually, no, I do. It's kind of grown on me. Maybe that's just me.
No,
but it has kind of grown on me. And,
it's difficult. It's difficult, Rich, isn't it? Because you'd have a. It feels like people have an ego of what they want.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if those companies aren't, if Apple, the Apple Arena or something, and a big, great, it sounds
Amazon,
great. But if they're
whatever.
not interested,
Yeah.
it's irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant if it had been Qatari or if it had been Emirates or it had been whoever. But if they're not interested, there's nothing you can do. You can't hang around to find one that sounds cool or whatever. You'd have to go with we've been banging on about Everton being better commercially. Well, Matt Davies here in the comments, it says this, it's absolutely mad. People have an issue with the company who offer the best economic and ethical deal. People literally want a name that sounds sexy based on no commercial acumen. So we have to just say, it is what it is. I'm just like, whatever.
yeah.
I just want more of this.
Yeah. And I think we will see more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, nice one.
All right,
Good
mate.
one,
Great,
mate. Another
great
good
to
call.
chat to you,
Thank
mate.
you.
Yeah, cheers, fellas.
Take care. See you later.
Bye.
Rod Ross says, so we should think like a small club till we win more matches or trophies. I think that was in regards to Fletcher, but no, but you also, if we're talking about the Nike situation, you can't go in at their top level, whether you want to or not. It's not how it works. So, I mean, I'm the one that normally gets stick for thinking that Everton should be better.
If Mickey Mouse Shirts Incorporated, which no one had ever heard of, offered the best football club in the world £50 million a year more, they'd take it.
Of course they would.
Now, they might go back to their preferred one, if it's Nike or Adidas, say, lads, you're going to have to match this.
Yeah.
Now, clearly, if it's within wriggle room, it's within 10% of each other. But I don't think it's ambitious wearing a Nike shirt. That doesn't send any messages to me of ambition at all.
Of course it doesn't.
It may, down the track, when they want to be our shirt manufacturer, right? And again, then it's a seller's market, and we will extract the best deal that we can out of them. That's different. So.
Who else have we got, James?
No one at the minute.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, Baz, what?
We have got Carrigan.
Oh, we have. Okay. You got to give us a clue.
Annabelle.
Oh, Annabelle.
Oh, we've got Annabelle.
Voice of Reason is about to start. Yeah.
Gonna be nice and calm now. Gonna be lovely. Annabelle, good evening. And what have you got to say?
A few things. The first thing, just in response to Fletch, I don't give a flying fig who our shirt manufacturer is. What I want is a decent shirt with a proper badge that is not a plastic stick-on thing, and I want the best deal possible. So I don't care who makes it. I just want a decent shirt.
Excellent.
Great summary.
The second thing on the naming rights, I'm just glad that we got a naming rights deal, and I'm not happy with the timing of it. I think, we all know PR has been not great for the club for a number of years. But again, I'm never going to call it the Hill Dickinson Stadium unless I have to specifically refer to it, because it will be the ground, the game, the match.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the reason that Goodison has an iconic status is because it was iconic, because it was the world's first purpose-built, because it built that history. And hopefully, in the future, going forward, the Hill Dickinson Stadium, the ground, Bramley Moor, whatever you want to call it, will gain that kind of iconic status because we win things there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best way for it, isn't it?
Totally.
That's the best way to get any sort of iconic status, is to be successful in it.
A load of lads in blue shirts walking around the pitch with a trophy. Yeah.
That's how it becomes.
That's the short-term dream.
Yeah.
That's it. You can't manufacture these things. They happen organically. And you just have to give it time for these things to happen.
Not
How
too
long?
long now, Annabelle.
Yeah, I was gonna
We've
say,
waited 30
how long are
years.
you going to give them,
No,
Annabelle?
no, no. Well, I can probably wait 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. 2's all right.
Two summer
next season
transfer
start-
windows, yeah, and then we'll be after the leadership then.
Next season to settle in, and then winning things the year after.
That sounds fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like
You
the
know.
sound of that, in all fairness. As long as we start,
I'm not an unreasonable lady.
No, doesn't sound like you are. 2 years, I think you're giving a lot of, giving them good time.
Lots of time.
We will need time to settle into the new stadium because it's going to be, well, it is going to be a wrench. And if anybody was doubting that it was going to be a wrench, all the tears that happened on Sunday
Yeah.
will definitely show you that it's going to be a wrench. So I personally, I disagree with Ped on when he says, you needed names for the entertainment. If you're going to do it, get the best. Actually, I think that would have overshadowed the day. And I like the fact that the entertainment was a little more muted. I mean, I'd have preferred to actually be able to hear it and for it to have been produced a little better. But I couldn't get to the ground because nobody would bring me. So instead, I signed up to TNT to watch it. And with a lovely bit of irony, I sat here with my ex, who was the person I went to Goodison with the first time, watching it, and then saw my other ex on holding it together and trying to hold it together in Gladys Street. So that was a weird experience.
A weird seeing all your exes on telly. Wow. Fair play, Annabelle.
Yeah, so the first person I went to Goodison with was sat here watching the last ever game.
Watching that with you.
And the person that I have been to Goodison with the most was
was in the Gladys Street.
In the Gladys Street.
Fair play.
So,
Fair play.
that was a nice little resonant moment. But,
Interesting moment.
Well, the one that was sat here with me, I've known him since he was 4 and I was 5. So
okay,
we've
fair
known
play.
each other a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, your toy boy, yeah.
Fair, yeah, the toy boy.
Actually, they both are, but that's...
Ooh, well.
Now that's a different story, isn't it, Annabelle?
If it
Fair
worked the
play.
first time, why not repeat it?
Yeah, that's it. Why not? Yeah. Someone just put Annabelle the serial heartbreaker.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
What I was thinking when the observations about production was speaks softly but carries a big stick.
Someone put, the new stadium announcers just called in.
Oh,
True.
yeah.
So you've got a job here, Annabelle. Stadium announcer at the Hill Dickinson.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm not a Scouser, so I don't think that would be appropriate.
I don't think it matters. It's the one we've got now, isn't a Scouser?
We just
but I
need to
bet
be-
you can say the names.
Yeah, pronounce things properly. Yeah.
Well, I
But,
definitely
hey.
wouldn't say it was Abdullah Decorum.
No. I wasn't going to say it again because I've mentioned that many times, but you've just done it, so
Abdullah.
well done.
Fantastic.
So, but at least we won the game, eh? That was the big thing. We won the match.
It was a priority.
The sun shined. Everyone was in good voice.
Yeah.
It felt right and it felt fitting. And actually, knowing that the women are going into the stadium makes it a little bit easier for me. Because it feels like we're going on to a new era without destroying what went in the past. So
Fair play.
I'm happy.
I think
I, as a former actress and singer, I would definitely have preferred to have seen a better production.
fair enough. That's
There's
from
that big stick coming
that
out
was it,
again.
yeah, from a thespian herself. All I would say, just when you were saying about it being a wrench, Annabelle, the key thing is we take the atmosphere that we saw on Sunday, or certainly some of that. We've got to try to recreate that at the new stadium.
We have.
It's key, and if we can, it's a big old place, that, and it'll make a lot of noise, and it'll be, dare I say it, even more intimidating than what Goodison Park can
It
be
has
at
the
times.
potential.
Has the
Well,
potential.
I
Whether it ever is, I don't know. But that's what we've got to, haven't we? That's certainly what we've got to do.
I completely agree. You know, I'm going to say it again for a third week running. You know, the fans make the club. It's up to us to do it. That's our
Totally
job.
agree.
Our
Yeah.
job as supporters is
Yeah.
to bring the atmosphere. Our job as supporters is to show that we care, that we want a good product on the pitch, that we demand wins. That's our job as supporters, to convey that to the players and to carry them across the line if they need it.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely
So,
correct.
you know, bring your voice, bring your scarves, shout, sing, scream. I've never booed at
Cry.
a football match in my... Well, actually, once. I did once boo Nicky Barmby.
Yeah, I don't think you were the only one.
I've
in all
never booed a
fairness.
blue shirt, but
And
frequently.
he wasn't in a blue shirt when I booed him.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I think you don't think you were the only one.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
You know, so and I was in the ground that day. So yeah, I think that is, and I've never left the ground early either.
That's
Well done.
That's it. Very
Yeah.
important.
Well done.
And to me, that's what we need to be doing. We need to be staying there until the final whistle. We need to be raising our voices, and we need to be doing our job as supporters, because I think sometimes that gets forgotten, that we have a responsibility to the club as much as the club have a responsibility to us.
Yeah. Totally agree. And we've shown when we're together and when we do it, it almost becomes, you know, an unbreakable force, unstoppable force.
It does, and I think one of the challenges that we will face, though, Baz, is that I don't think the sort of intimidating atmosphere that we want will happen all by itself. It needs to be orchestrated. It needs fan groups and the club itself to work together with an objective in mind, is to make sure that it gets mobilised. The fan base, gets mobilised. You only have to look at how often the 1878 right at the last minute still asking for volunteers to wave flags, put scarves out, whatever it might be. But once you energise that group, and the critical mass gets to a certain point, it's a runaway train, and it'll petrify every opposition team that ever goes inside that stadium.
Yeah.
And we went to Dortmund and we spoke to the guys who do it there, and it took them 10 years, to get to where they are now. And we just need to, we can take that long if we want, but we need to start at a very high level.
It's already started, that competition, hasn't it? So,
well, that's what we do. We have to carry it forward into the new stadium. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's, like I said, it's on us now. We have to make the new stadium. We have to make the Hill Dickinson ours. You know, we have to. Goodison Park was home. You know, if anyone's on X, they saw the little bit of prose that I wrote about it. That place is very special to me. But it's, you know, that we now move to a new future, a future we've all been dying for. You know, we have been begging for better. And that's what we have to deliver as fans in the new stadium. We have to keep that energy going. Nothing's ever going to be the same. So let's make it as good as it can be new.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah.
More words of wisdom. I'm in. Are you?
100%.
Cool.
100%. Right, Annabelle, thank you very much. Very relaxing listening to your voice, your dulcet tones.
Can I do a postscript to that?
Go on.
Just a very brief one. Some of that, what Annabelle's talking about, which I think anyone who listens to it will be all in as well, involves the dressing of the stadium, right? And the football club, I think, may be thinking, well, it's a new stadium, we need to ease ourselves in, blah, 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 right? And I just think, and clearly you're not going to fully decorate it, if that's the right word, inside the concourse areas and all those sorts of areas, because you want the focus to be on how the hell do I find the toilet, how the hell do I get in, how the hell do I get out. But inside the bowl, and we call it that because that's what the architect calls it, it needs to be fully dressed as blue and Evertonian.
Yeah, it's got
from
to be.
day one.
Got to be.
I completely agree, and we need to be up and running from day one and out there and at it. We absolutely have to take this on the front foot and attack from the start. And that,
Spot on.
and that means having it decorated, having it look blue, having it be intimidating.
Yeah, get rid of all the
Because
concrete inside. Colour.
I'm with you, by the way, Baz, because we were talking about it yesterday. You want, and I agree with you, every single piece of concrete in that place, which will show to fans and even TV audiences, if you like, can't be concrete coloured.
No,
It needs to
not
be
at all.
blue, royal
No,
blue.
it has to be blue.
Make it blue.
It has to be blue.
Absolutely. So let's get it done.
Let's do it.
You know, I'll come down. If you give me the paint and the brush, I'll help. You know.
Yeah.
And there's another community message we can send around the world. Thousands of Evertonians help dress the stadium. There you go.
Exactly.
Free marketing.
Let's go.
Well, from my wheelchair, I'm very good at skirting boards, so I'll help too.
Fair play. You do the low stuff then.
You can
Fair
do
play.
orchestration, Annabelle.
Yeah, orchestrate it and just encourage with the
Yeah,
voice.
yeah. That's
People
it,
will just be, although say it too much and everyone just be zen, won't they? Everyone just be like, carry on painting in a bit.
In that case, I'll just get the whip out.
Oh, promises.
Okay. I need to. No, I need the. Someone put the fan on quickly. Gone awfully hot in here.
It's not Justy
Have a good
though.
evening,
I don't know what to
gentlemen.
say, Annabelle. I think on that bombshell.
They're under Top Gear now, is it? On that bombshell.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
I think we will bid a fond farewell till next week to you.
Absolutely. Superb.
And just to Brien in the comments, no,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not from Bournemouth.
Right.
I'm not a Southerner. I'm a Midlander.
A Midlander? Doesn't sound like a Midlander, but fair play.
I'm
Fair
from
play.
Coventry, born and bred.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Not Royal Leamington Spa.
Damn not, no.
But you were born in a
Dang,
hospital.
sir.
Fair enough.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Thank
Right.
you.
Annabelle from Coventry. Speak to you soon.
Bye.
Okay.
Take
bye,
care.
Annabelle. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Fabulous.
I wanted to. What did I want to say then? Someone asked me about Everton's. Was I worried about Everton's the recruitment team? But don't really know what it's going to be yet.
It's not completed yet.
And it was. I'm not sure what it looked like. We'll only know once it starts, won't we? Could be better. I know that Angus Kinnear's talked about analytical stuff, getting the top people in, looking at it, examining it that way. I'm hoping it's better.
The structure looks better.
Won't know. Yeah. Let's see what they deliver. It's all about outcomes, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really. So, Emma's just said cold showers all round. Yeah. Posh Matty said, I think they've just turned the aircon off on the Eurostar. It's just got a bit warm. Annabelle, that's what she does.
Every week.
That's what she does. Yeah. Just I've seen some, forgot about it. Definitely wasn't Martin EFC. No disrespect to Fletch. There wasn't not 1.2 million people at Goodison Park on Sunday. There wasn't. 80 to 100,000, yes. 1.2 million, no chance. But there wasn't 1.1 million at Liverpool's parade either. That was nonsense as well. Wasn't more people at Liverpool's parade than live in the city of Liverpool, was there? There was no chance.
To give you a view
Just
about
crazy.
give you a view
things.
about the 1.2 million thing.
Yeah.
Right. Super Stadia of the world, and those who know, said it was only 550,000.
At Liverpool's one?
No, at our one.
Oh, okay.
You have to know.
I know now, yeah, I know. But there wasn't 550,000 there either.
No.
The same as there wasn't over 1 million at Liverpool's. So
Complete rubbish.
let's just,
But yeah, 100,000. Yeah. I think I referenced it in the article, don't I? If you read it, yeah. And I think that is in the same ballpark as what you thought, which is fundamentally as many people outside as were inside. Yeah.
Yeah. No, listen, I wasn't flustered by Annabelle and by changing the subject. There was nowhere really to go with it, was there?
No.
Chris Roberts, a YouTube member, says, do you think they'll name any of the stands? Like the South stand being called the Goodison stand or something?
No.
Do you think it'll be north, south, east, west and it'll stay?
You've got artefacts and assets to play with, haven't you? Yeah. Perhaps, just perhaps, it runs the risk of them being named by sponsors. So there is that. But I think there's some wriggle room there to name at least the home end something to do with our history. You know, should Howard Kendall go with us, for example? You know.
Does anyone even call it the Howard Kendall stand, though?
No, but it's a recognition thing, isn't it?
No, but you know what I mean. It's the Gladys Street, isn't it?
Yeah, and it'll always be
Park End.
And it's a bit like we just did to some degree on the naming rights. Whatever it's called, even if which is why it's unlikely to get sponsors, because they know unless it appears on TV, what they're getting for it. You know, I think it'll always be the South Stand, won't it?
Yeah, I think so.
The designated home end, the South Stand at Bramley Moor, one of the best, if not the best, in English football. That's what we're expecting to happen.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
And the other stands pale into significance in comparison, don't they?
It's at the South Stand?
Yeah.
In the ground or elsewhere?
No, in the ground.
In the ground. I don't know, the West Stand looks good.
No, they all look good because the great stadium looks good.
But you mean the steepness of it?
But the steepness, the atmosphere is going to be driven by the South Stand.
Well, you'd hope.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully.
People are going to be surprised when they get in the North Stand when they feel how big it is.
The North Stand.
So what it looks like, it's much bigger.
That's the biggest surprise people will get when they go in the ground, is the North Stand, the size of it. Because on the drones and when you see the images, it doesn't look big.
But it is.
It's totally, that'll be the thing. Anyone who hasn't been in will be the thing that shocks you, how big that North Stand is. So therefore, then if you go, okay, well, how big's the South Stand then? Then yeah, and the steepness.
Therefore, if you're in the North Stand, right, take the walk down the East Stand to the South Stand, and all you'll see is concourse areas that get bigger.
Yeah.
I think the smallest concourse areas in the North Stand.
But I think they
still bigger than
this is why, for me, the concrete in the stadium needs to be painted.
Totally.
That when you look at that South Stand from the North Stand, you just want to see blue the whole way. You don't want to see big concrete. And I know the middle bits of it are getting dressed with the LED.
The ribbon LEDs.
It's got the LEDs and they'll be great and it'll look really sexy and all that.
Modern.
But you want to look up and not see anything.
And the risers in the corner of the South Stand.
The risers in the corners need painting. Yeah. For me, where the wheelchair sections are, they should really be blue for the floor, so that it's all blends in, so that when you're in there, it's just a sea of blue. That's how it's. That's my.
And then if we can pull off the magic trick of getting the vast majority of people who are Evertonians who go in that stadium actually wear blue, we saw that, you know, at the weekend.
The issue you've got with that is November through April, it's freezing.
No, I get it.
People aren't going to do it. But you want that first day one of it.
Yeah, August.
If it's warm, wear blue.
Yeah.
You know, and we tend to have nice late August, Septembers now. That's how it's sort of the pattern's been over the last few years. Yeah. If it's warm enough, throw your blue or get a blue tracky top or a blue hoodie or something. Because it did look incredible. I've never seen Goodison that blue. As what it was.
Amazing.
It was unbelievable, and it looked unbelievable. So that would be a great thing to take into the new stadium if people could do that.
And at the money end of the season, it'll always be decent weather.
You'd hope. Well, yeah, you'd hope
regularly decent weather. Yeah.
Posh Matty said I walked to the top of that South Stand and my legs were killing at the top. The steepness, didn't it?
Yeah, get a good view from up there.
Carl Byron says the South Stand should be called the Blue Everest Stand. Because it's that.
All the iconic, most of the iconic stands around the world, perversely the South ones, aren't they? Dortmund's a South Stand. So let's do that.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? What they do with it, if they either name it or whether they just leave it. Don't know what.
Mate, we won't know until they've done the statues, will we? Because that's where
the statues will be the thing that's going in, and you'd expect Neville Southall to be one of them, wouldn't you? So, wonder if I wonder if Kevin Ratcliffe would be one. Or about two from the same era. Man, you'd have to hold it. All right. But obviously the most successful captain.
It's got to be a second Dixie, surely. Dixie has to be down there as well.
Most successful captain.
Well,
the greatest player they've ever had, Neville Southall.
Yeah, but I think when you're doing those things, Baz, right, they've got to have a decent shelf life. One rather hopes that Kevin Ratcliffe won't stay the most successful Everton captain of all time for very long. You don't want to then take it out and replace it with the new longest best cap, do you?
It's unlikely though, isn't it, given how much he won?
Yeah. All done in about 3 years, though, wasn't it?
Doesn't matter, does it? You look at it now, football's not like that now, is it?
Okay, I'll just give my vote no to Kevin Ratcliffe, but yes to Neville Southall.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have Dixie there, personally.
I would. There you go. That's what I mean. Yeah.
And that's why.
How many is there? 3?
3, yeah.
So there's 3 to go on the...
One will be Neville Southall.
Yeah, I would hope so.
So the other 2...
Maybe the manager? Most successful manager?
Yeah, but then he's got one already, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I just don't see them going. You've got Kendall, Harvey and Ball at Goodison and you've got Dixie. So let's put one of them back here. I don't see that happening. So
that means there's 3 choices then?
there'll be Nev.
Who haven't currently got one.
There'll be Neville,
so Nev.
and that'll be it for me. There'll be Nev. I don't know who the other 2 would be.
I can't think of
Because I don't know how you'd... If you're not
how you
taking the
pick
most
them.
successful captain, who are you taking?
You'd have... Maybe you ask fans what they want.
Oh, God, never ask the fans, jeez.
Ask the Heritage
Well,
Society.
you ask the head of the society because 12 of them seem to make decisions. But it's difficult, isn't it? Because people will always disagree. That's why you can't ask the fans because we've just had a disagreement, haven't we? So, Ned says Grant Ingles on a stand. So, why not? Big Grant. Maybe it's going to be Denise. Who knows?
Farhad. Yeah.
Farhad, yeah. Who knows?
I pay for this. Well, mostly.
Be interesting. Daniel Barton, YouTube member, says the Ped, Baz and John. Is that you?
The Unholy Trinity.
Mm.
Well, you're
The
holy
very-
though anyway, so we can...
Posh Matty says, can we crowdfund the name to name the stadium Emma is a Goth Stadium and raise 10 million?
Yeah.
Ped likes it. I think it's harsh. Emma isn't a Goth. I mean, I've never
She told
met
me
her.
she's not.
And she's met you, John.
Which didn't look like one.
Because it was light.
I was quite close, so, you know.
I think the Ned standard work. Just imagine Ned as a statue down there with a forklift truck in one hand, the Barclays badge in the other, and his guitar. And his guitar. Imagine that. I think that'd work.
So you reckon what? About 80,000 might have been in and around the ground.
80 to 100,000.
So we could have got 125 quid off all of them. We'd have had 10 million quid for a stadium.
Called it the
naming
fan
rights.
stadium.
Yeah.
But we'd have to keep doing that every year.
Yeah, we would. 125 quid a year.
It's difficult to get people to...
We could have what we wanted on front of shirts as well, couldn't we?
No, because they're paying 20 million
Are they?
a season. So that's a different thing altogether. But no one waiting, Jay? No.
Time to
Right,
go.
we're going. Everyone take it easy. Check out all the stuff we've got out. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.